Housing affordability remains a critical issue for many Americans, and President Trump's housing agenda aims to address it head on. But how will these initiatives play out on the local level? And what challenges lie ahead? Well, here to break it all down, we have CEO of Real Estate Connection, Brian Coester, back with us to talk about all of these changes here. Thanks for being here.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and lots of changes. So many Americans, we know, struggle with housing affordability. In Trump's new agenda, how is that going to tackle the cost of housing?
So it's interesting. So day one, he put over 100 executive orders, and one of them was focused solely on housing, because it is a problem nationally. There's really a 4-point plan that he came up with. One is reducing the housing costs. So the goal is to reduce housing costs overall by 25%. Second is expand housing inventory. Third is to eliminate some of the administrative costs. And then fourth is reducing some of these climate policies. So there's a little juggling act when it comes to all these, because there's multiple levers to pull. He started off with the appointment of new housing authority leaders, as well as just sort of a general restructuring. So he has Scott Turner now that's going to be heading HUD, which had success in the opportunity zones in his previous administration. And he's also bringing in Bill Pulte, who is a very experienced, if you ever heard of Pulte Homes, very experienced builder. So he's got two guys who are going to help him with his administration. The main focus is going to be focused on the reduction of the inefficiencies associated with housing. So there's a hidden cost in housing, whether that's energy, whether that's zoning, whether that's importation of materials and goods, and then whether that is getting permission to build. So the plan is to address all of these. Now, how that goes about implementing is still to be seen, but the framework is in place.
And I can only help but wonder, you know, what feedback are you getting from housing industry leaders and trade groups about this initiative?
So overall, it's been very positive. So I was talking to Rod Alba, who's the head of the American Bankers Association this morning, and you know, the feedback they're getting from their bankers is time has come to make some changes, right? There's cost creeps that have been put in place with FHA, with the GSEs, with Fannie Mae over the last couple of years that have increased the cost of mortgages. There's a tremendous amount of regulatory red tape that has been put in place by the Biden administration and Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, and that has significantly increased the cost of housing. So there's about $90,000 in administrative and regulatory costs associated with buying a house that just doesn't need to be there, and they're focused on eliminating that and making housing more affordable again.
Yeah, and regulations, you know, cutting that red tape. What are some potential obstacles with that?
So at a federal level, they can provide the framework, but ultimately there's no federal regulations to help build, right? All of that's done at the local level. And so what they really want to do is Scott and Bill need to work with local municipalities, like we've talked about with some of the, you know, Montgomery County zoning or some of the Virginia stuff, to implement the spirit of the regulation at a local level. There's something called implied influence, right? And that implied influence is once the federal regulatory bodies start saying, hey, this is what you want me to do, that trickles down immediately into the local government. So the red tape is really, you've got to get the local municipalities to agree, and that's something they're going to work through with the various agencies.
A lot of changes, a lot of information there. Brian Coester, you always have us covered. Thank you so much for coming in and sharing your knowledge.
Absolutely.
We definitely need to learn more, but we're going to send things over. Yes, go Commanders, right? Yes. All right, we'll be right back after the break.